Alright guys, Big Boy Reviews here. I just read something really awesome. I'm just going to say that. This is awesome. Pet Sematary. You guys voted for this, and I am so glad you did. Whew, I am going to do more votes because you guys just are awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you for voting for this. Alright, so this might just be like one of the best things I've ever read in my entire life. I was kind of skeptical about halfway through, but that just like vanished. All my doubts vanished instantly when I got past that little tiny like 25-page hump. Now this review is going to be spoiler free. As always, I'm going to give you a little plot synopsis. Here we go. So I basically love the beginning of the story. It's like one of those classic horror stories, like of a family. It's the Creed family. It follows the Creed family. They show up in Maine, Ludlow, Maine. I'm not sure if that's a real town. I live in Maine, and I've never heard of it. So, you know how Stephen King kind of like fictionalizes towns like Derry from It and Dreamcatcher. That's not a real town, if you didn't know that. But I have not heard of Ludlow. So they show up in Ludlow in their Volkswagen, and Lewis bought a new house. And he's a doctor, and Rachel is a stay-at-home mom. Ellie, his daughter's 5 years old. She's really cute. And Gage, the 2-year-old son, is a doctor, and he works at USM, the University of Maine. He works in like a department in there, and works as a doctor in there. And guess what? Fun fact. I do these fun facts sometimes. Fun fact. I'm going to the University of Maine for college. Who would have thought? So, you know, he's a doctor, he makes bank, he can support his family, and that's why he buys the house. So they all show up in front of the house, they love the house, and they're about to go inside, and a man crosses the road after a huge truck passes, and he's like, his name is Judd. You find out his name is Judd, and he's the neighbor right across the street, and he basically tells them, you know, watch out for this road. As you can see, big trucks pass by this like quite often. So definitely don't like let pets or anything cross the road. And then Lewis goes on to tell that they have a cat named Winston Churchill. They call it Church. And Judd's like, yeah, you better keep an eye on that. Now Judd is a 82-year-old man. Awesome character. I love Judd. He is like the best thing that ever happened in this book. You know, Stephen King with his characters. Great characters. Lewis is wicked awesome and likable. He's the main guy. He's the husband. Judd is probably the second main character. He becomes really good friends with Lewis, and that's probably like the bonding experience that you read about is like the first quarter of the book. It's really awesome. You know, after they do their little introductions on the front lawn of their house, Ellie notices a path that leads. It's on the side of the house, and it just goes into the woods. If you don't know about Maine, it's got a lot of pine trees, and it just kind of basically goes in between this huge tower of trees. And she questions it. She goes, what is that path right there? That looks cool. And then Judd's like, oh, that leads to the Pet Sematary. And if you noticed, that's spelt wrong, obviously, if you know how to like spell. She asks why, or he tells them why. He says that the kids made this, and they maintain it. They've maintained it for years because they still use it as a burial ground for like pets and stuff. It's really kind of like disturbing. Like kids really, I wouldn't want kids on my property because it's on the Creed house's property. Like I wouldn't want kids like going with their dead pets, like walking in that, but they do, and there's a lot of dead animals in there. But that's not really the big problem. That's not the conflict in the book. There's another path once you get into the Pet Sematary. Beyond the Pet Sematary is where, well, this is where I don't know if I should keep going. But I guess I will because it's really not that big of a spoiler if you've watched the trailer from the 1982 movie, which sucks, by the way. Worst acting ever. Not even kidding. Go ahead and bash me if you want. I think I don't like the movie. I watched it as I read this. I'd read a couple chapters, watch that, so on and so forth. Not that great. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Around Thanksgiving, basically Lewis doesn't get along with Rachel's parents and stuff. So Rachel, Ellie, and Gage go to Rachel's parents' house. They still live in Chicago. They fly down there, and Lewis is home alone with Church. Basically, the cat gets hit by a truck, like an 18-wheeler. Gets, like, just demolished. And Judd tells him, he's like, yo, your cat's dead on my lawn. Yo, dog. And then he's like, oh, dang. So they go to the Beyond Point in the Pet Sematary, and stuff happens. Like, I don't know. This is really where I don't know if I should keep going. But some supernatural stuff happens, and that's basically like the starting point off for the book. That happens around page 90 or something. So it's not really that far into the book. I hope that gets you interested, because I really want you to read this. I couldn't put this book down, especially today. Like, you know, I don't have that much time on my hands, free time. Like, I only get a day off from work a week, so it's really not that often that I can sit down for a long time and actually, like, read this. But I made time today. I was on, this book is 375 pages long. I was 100 pages from the ending this morning when I woke up. And I read, I don't know if this tells you anything, after I just told you I was busy and I can't find any time to read. Yeah, I read that 100 pages today. It was like one of the only times where I was like, oh, that was a good little read, and I look back where my bookmarker is, and I just read 100 pages. Like, the last 100 pages. It is intense, people. Intense. Like, I've never read something so intense. Like, you can't put it down once you hit that last 100-page mark. I'm telling you, like, if you like build-up, like, a lot of people probably complain about this book being, like, boring, like, oh, come on, this is so boring, nothing scary is happening. Well, those people probably haven't made it to, like, the last 100 pages. Because once you get to that, I don't see how you couldn't stop. There's 3 parts in this. The third part is called, it's the Great and Terrible. That's how it's spelled, like a little kid with, like, a lisp or something is saying, or a speech impediment. Oh my gosh. You're going to want to just fly through this book so you can get to that. I had no idea that this story was going to turn into what it did. Awesome. Awesome ending. I loved the crap out of it. Stephen King, if you read the paperback version, I got it over there. I went ahead and got this because I wanted a nice hardcover for my collection. I only need like 10 more Stephen King books in hardcover, like, to have them all. So I just got this for the collection, and that's what I read from. But I did read in the new expanded edition that has the new intro by Stephen King. I read that a long time ago. Like, I'm talking like a year ago when I first got it, when I was first getting into Stephen King books and stuff. And it stuck with me because it was so interesting and, like, so unique, and I remembered it going into reading this. This is actually kind of like a true story, you know, like, of course not like all the supernatural and stuff that happens later in the story, but like the setup, like the beginning, and basically Judd was a real character, kind of, not a real character, a real person, because Stephen King and his family, his young son, I forget, I don't know what his son's name is, maybe Joe or something, I don't remember right now, but they go to a town, I don't remember the big specific details or anything, but this neighbor came across and told them, you know, watch out, that this road is very busy and it has killed a lot of pets, and there actually was a pet cemetery right next to the house that Stephen King was staying at for a little while, and so basically it really opens up the same exact way it did for Stephen King. And he almost had like a near-death experience with his son, and that kind of gave him the inspiration to write this in a way. And Stephen King was traumatized. And, sorry, my kitten is like spazzing out. It's kind of cool how this is kind of a true story in a way. Overall, oh my gosh, get this book. Get this book. I do think that the cover kind of I'm not even going to say it. The cover is kind of spoiler contained. That's why I'm going to stop showing it to you. Definitely read Pet Sematary. Like, oh my gosh, this is... I really don't know if I should say that this is my favorite Stephen King book, because I really liked it. But I don't know. I don't know. Pet Sematary was awesome. It was awesome. Definitely give it a try. It'll scare you, because it scared me. I was scared a lot towards the end. Excellent book. I don't even know what to give it for a rating. It's the highest rating possible. That's what I give this. I loved it. Thank you for voting. I'm going to do another vote tomorrow, because you guys are going to pick the right thing. I know it. Thank you for watching my review, and peace.